get some different videos. So anyway, I just want to say thank you to everybody, and I would like everybody around the table to introduce themselves, especially anybody that went to the dentist today.
Okay.
So,
Pat, this
So
is
we're going to
Pat.
start with Pat.
Yeah.
There's Pat over there. And
Yeah.
Pat has been, I have to tell you that Pat has been very instrumental in getting me to the point where I can actually be here today. And Pat and Judy wrote a book called Hello America, and someday, I just spoke with Gretchen and I said someday we should have a little discussion about that, because I'm sure people that think about writing, they want to know where it's going to go, and it's nice to know what the process is of getting the ideas on the paper, or even if it is paper electronically. Anyhow, Hello America. It's the story. It's a story of it's a story
Hello.
of a trip around the country, and I also wrote a poem about the cat, about Willie the Pennsylvania Pussycat. So that's up on Facebook as well. Now, anytime, and this is to everybody that's here and everybody that's also on Facebook that could be listening now or later on, 5,000 years from now. Who knows how long the videos are going to keep popping up. But I have a hard time tracking, say this video, it'll come back as a memory a year from now, but in between time, I don't really know how to manage, organize it. So that's a general thing I wanted to say. So who's next to say who's here and say a little bit about yourself?
Okay. Okay, my name is Kayleen Purcell,
Kaylee? Yes.
and I'm here today to talk to this man. He goes by Santa, and his name is James. And I'm very thankful that Patrick could bring him over here and let us experience this time with him. He is well known in Kingman, Arizona, and we love him to death. And I'm pretty sure all of you guys have seen him walking Stockton Hill and Starbucks, Safeway, just chillaxing. So I'll pass this to Shorty.
Patrick. I just moved here and I haven't seen you around, but my mom's seen you and
And why do they call you Shorty? Let everybody know. You're not really, she's about as short as Shaquille O'Neal. Actually.
my last name's Short.
There you go. All right, now everybody's got more, better idea of why. Go on, you go. I like to interrupt everybody.
That's okay.
Yeah, I guess that's about it. I don't really have much to say.
Okay, but we can add in later on when we come to specific things, if somebody's got something to add, because there's a lot of stuff I can't really keep track of. And now,
And my name is Giselle, and I've seen you around a couple times before, and one time me and my brother actually approached you and we gave you some muffins before. I thought that was pretty nice, and I think that this is an amazing opportunity that I get to have and actually ask you some questions and get to know you better.
yes, that's incredible. Now let me just say two quick things before I listen to the program. The first one is three things actually. Michael is busy today, but he's into meteorites.
Oh, wow.
So he has a business that sells them, turns them into guitar picks. They're real meteorites. Some of them could have come from the moon, could have originated on Mars. I'm not getting into any more details, just to say that it's just like a sampler for the future. So my other thing is I wanted today to bring my Korg Kronos keyboard, but I haven't even seen it yet. But if you look at any of my videos, you'll see me a couple of weeks ago playing one in the Sam Ash store. That's not mine. That's the one that was in the studio, in the showroom. But mine arrived today, and that's the next thing I'll be going is to get familiar with that. I did want to try and combine it, like unboxing it and let everybody see it. But if at some time in the future you've got something where we can do that, I would really like to do that. So
Okay.
I can share it. It's like the ripple effect, right? So now here's a quick one for you. I had an idea for a play. Has anybody ever been to the old Elks Lodge?
Yes.
Just up the road here? If you pay attention to the floor, it's like a chessboard, right? Black, white, black, white, black, white. And there's enough of them there that you could just put a little tape around and there's a whole chessboard. So I had an idea for a suggestion. It's an educational idea where I call it James Zyla's Living Chess. And I actually outline it in the whole video, but here's how it goes. I said, okay, let's say you had maybe the boys against the girls, or the young ones against the old ones, or however you want to divide it up, science against language, or whatever you want to divide it up. Two sides, keep it simple, boys against girls. And I said, living chess. So each chess piece would be a person. And you could have a symbol, so the pawns could just be as simple as the white could be white trash bags, and the black could be black trash bags, or you could get a Hollywood costume designer to come in and really, so somewhere in between, you could have this thing going. So the way it would work, and my friends that play real chess got upset because it totally messes up their program for playing chess. I call it living chess, and it works like this. I said, each person, the idea like the game is to checkmate your opponent, you know. And so I said the difference is it's contingent upon getting your questions right. So I said, here's how it works. I put it like in a song and a poem, and I said, the girls in white will be answering questions on Frank Lloyd Wright. And the boys, no matter what they're thinking, are going to be answering questions on Abraham Lincoln. So I said,
Wow.
okay, so now if you get your question right, you move. If you get it wrong, the other guy moves. That totally messes up your plan for the sequence of each turn each, you see.
Yeah.
So it makes it a much more interesting game. Now, I said, here's how it works. Okay, the girls first. What was Frank Lloyd Wright's first name in the gun? Frank? Okay, the girls got the question right. Okay, now the boys, if Abraham Lincoln was going to walk to the moon, how many inches would he travel? So anyway, so the moral of the story is this, that the girls were partying and the boys were out studying all night. And so the moral of the story is life ain't fair. So get used to it. But the point is, if we do this as like a little joke piece to show people, then you can take it with a serious project where you can bring your own themes and have everybody, you know, it's an incentive. It's a more fun way of studying if everybody's studying for an exam or something.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we have a little competition and then you've got some kind of more energy, you know, because
More fun way of learning.
yes, and any time you can get the energy and the enthusiasm to do it. You know, I've worked on a lot of Hollywood movies, and like on Independence Day, we couldn't wait to get back to work on the spaceship. In fact, I said, oh, I got to get one of these, and Will Smith put that in the movie. And then we worked on another movie that was called Ed, and we were out in the sun frying, and everybody was like, can I go to the bathroom? No, you went yesterday. Can I have a drink of water? No, if you go, everybody want a drink of water. So everybody's like, I don't want to come back again. So when that movie came out, it just went because there was no energy. Everybody
you
was
need
in it.
energy.
It filtered down, you know. And on Independence Day, it was Fox and it was the Emmerich brothers. And when I was there, I was in Area 51. And this is in my Silver Screen Sandwich upcoming book, where I say, imagine you're watching a movie. The audience is one slice of bread, the movie is another slice of bread, but the meat in the middle is what happened. You only see us for 1 minute, but even 1 second sometimes, but that was 9 days' work, you know.
Wow.
So when Jeff Goldblum shoots the coke can through the force field, I'm standing right next to him wearing a blue suit, which was probably a radiation suit that they paid $1.50 for. And that spaceship, I hate to break this to you, but that spaceship didn't actually fly, even though they made it look like it could. And where they shot that scene, I was around there, Bill Pullman was there, and he was playing the President of the United States in Independence Day, the original movie. And but he was more excited, having been doing Casper the Ghost. So he's like a little kid, he's going, yeah, you should see that. So anyway, I just wanted to give you a few little things so that at some point in time, if we could sometime get together again when I got my Kronos and make it, you know, still combine
Definitely.
it, whichever you want to do, because I'd much rather have a team of people, especially if we can feedback between different generations about mistakes that we know other people, we didn't make mistakes, but other people we've seen make mistakes, you know. And then for the future, you got ideas, because some of you could be going to work on Mars, it's possible. It's not-
You never know.
it's not compulsory, but it's possible, you know. Maybe we should make it compulsory for some people. Bad people should go there. Well, maybe I don't know. But anyway, go ahead. I was just kind of brainstorming a little bit.
Well, thank you for telling us a little bit about yourself.
Yes.
And of course, we've done a lot of research, and so of course today our interview is based on the Salem witch trials. So the witches in Salem were kind of looked at differently than everyone else in this society. So do you feel like people in our community look at you differently sometimes?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Because yes, and there's a very simple test. If somebody goes, "Hey, Santa," it's like, well, if he's trying to run me down when I'm trying to walk across the road,
Yeah, that's
then that's not really my friend. And somebody that, like Pat, for example, he'll sit next to me and I'll go, "What's your name?" He knows when he comes in, he goes, "It's Pat," you know, so people know, and they know my name is James. Now, if the little children say, "Santa, Santa, Santa,"
then it's different.
then they're you know, it's the enthusiasm of tomorrow, you know. So yeah, there is a big difference, and you know, in Kingman, I would say 90% of the people are good, positive people.
Exactly.
But I always think of this story of two Irishmen. Well, you know, everybody can divide up and argue about religion or race or age or geography or whatever they want to fight about. I even put it into a song. I said, we don't have to see eye to eye to walk hand in hand. We can be from different countries, different languages, different foods, but we can all work together. But when people start separating and going, "Oh, we don't like you, we want to take over,"
Then
and
it
everything,
all gets messed up.
yeah, it does. It all gets messed up. So then, what I wanted to do was, you know, I was thinking of a few different things, like in Independence Day, in particular. What was the theme? We're fighting the aliens. We're fighting the Martians. Well, we're all Earth people, right? We're all Earth people.
Yeah.
But then when we get to live in chess, it's the boys against the girls. You see? So I said, this is how I said it in my song. I said, Mars attacks the hyphenated zoo. So we're left-handed Americans, left-handed Chinese, right-handed Chinese, old, young, gay, straight, whatever you want to call it. You know, you can divide up into a group, religious group, political group, age group, money group, and it's a hyphen. So you're conditional American, you know, you're this type of, I'm a rich American, I'm a poor American, you know, and this sort of thing. And so I said, Mars attacks the hyphenated zoo, that's Earth. But Earth is where we're from, and that's the glue. We are all Earth people. But we forget that sometimes. And I always remember in this movie with two Irishmen, so you've got either Irish versus English or Catholics versus Protestants, you know, whatever you want excuse for to fight with somebody else. And so this one guy goes, you know, you got very lucky today because we tried to blow your car up with a bomb and it didn't go off. And he said, you know what? He said, you know what? You got lucky today. He says, but guess what? You got to get lucky every day. We only got to get lucky one time. So when somebody does something bad, you know, that like it comes from another country and they get into these evil gangs, and then all of a sudden the family's without their daughter, and there's no legal remedy for it immediately, then something's out of balance there, you know. And I don't think you actually see it as much in Kingman. People that have travelled, and especially going back in time when
So have you traveled a lot?
I've travelled a little bit. It's all relative, you see. I haven't been to China, I haven't been to Russia, but I've been a lot of places.
Where are you from?
Well, I'm like the guy that said, his mother said, we don't think, our mother gave us so many leftovers, we don't think there was any original meal. So one of my grandfathers was in Nova Scotia and Canada, the other one was in Scotland. Well, I never lived in either of those two places, but I did visit, and I visited England, and I bumped into Margaret Thatcher one time. And but mostly, I think of being from California because I spent a lot of time in California selling computers, selling pianos, going to the NAMM show, working in the Hollywood movies, and then in La Jolla in San Diego in 1997, I set a world record. I played the piano for 100 hours non-stop.
Wow.
And it's in the La Jolla Light magazine. So I've got all these different projects, you know, that I'm trying to connect now through what you're doing with Facebook. So right at the moment, if you can point your cameras at my shirt,
Okay.
this is my logo. This has took me 30 years. I know none of you probably got that many years under your belt yet. So, but it took me 30 years to figure out that's how I spell James. So but it's not yet on the typewriter keyboard, right? I don't even know if you know what the typewriter is, but anyway.
Yeah, we do.
On the back, I know I joke sometimes, but anyway, on the back is Mike Miller set up a GoFund account, and it's been enough to get us the keyboard, but not the PA system yet. So now I'm playing the piano at the Riverside Resort. I don't know if that's long enough for you to see, for everybody to read what's on there. Okay, so the ongoing project is I want to really connect, and right at the moment through Facebook mostly, but later on I want to be able to go out and do a thing called the Internet Piano Bond, which is like the main audience is here, real people sitting here. But each one has a sub-audience, you know, so if we go out and I could be doing piano, or I could be doing just guitar, or I could be doing a whole orchestra thing, or I have my theatrical musical, which can include like an opera, and I have these already planned out. And so the main stepping stone is this keyboard that is actually here today, but we're just hours away from coordinating it for this time.
Are you
So,
excited?
I probably am because I'm thinking about 50 different things. at
Beyond
once.
excited. Beyond excited.
So, would it be okay for us to maybe set up when we go into the class in a few minutes after we're done with our interview to maybe talk about to the class to maybe donate to your GoFundMe? Did we mention that?
Well, I would like to talk about the GoFund program in general, so that would
Okay.
be great, yes.
Okay.
And what I mostly want people to do is not so much, because every $5 makes a difference,
Yeah.
right? But more important is, and I can talk to the class if you remind me of things that I've said already that I can say to them, and just give them like a brief idea, because they can always refer to it on the video, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so I can address like the key points here, you see. And so the main thing with GoFund is that I don't want to go into all the details, but Michael had to get funeral expenses for a relative, and that's how he learned how to do it. So it's kind of sad, but
Yeah.
the good point is that a lot of people have told me, "Oh, we'll do a GoFund thing for you," and I think they're either sitting on the beach drinking margaritas right now, and I never saw any of it, or more likely they didn't really know how to do it, because it's a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
You know, if somebody's got to give them a phone number, bank account, and then you've got to set it up, and then you've got to talk to people, and you really have to show them a picture and who you are, that it's not just some kind of
Scam.
scam,
Yeah.
you know, or a hoax or something. And so that's why it's nice when I can go, look, clunk, this is what you all contributed to. but we're only the halfway point because we need the speakers as well. Otherwise, I could I could sit and play it, and you could all get it on your phones,
Yeah.
right? But if I'd like to have the tradition, it's not it's an array. I don't know if anybody knows about public address or sound systems, but the way that it's been is you have a speaker here, an amplifier, and a mixer here, and all these wires, and then you have a monitor system, so the P is for the audience, the monitor's for you. This is all in one. You plonk the bass unit down, and you click, 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 and that's it.
Wow.
And it's right next to you, so you can hear it, and it's powerful enough to hit the audience. So when I've got that with my keyboard and my tablet, I can then go.
And you're almost there.
Yeah, we're right almost there. And so
can I ask you another question?
you can try.
Okay. So people in Cumin are really fascinated by you. We all know you. Why do you think that we are so fascinated about you? Do you have any idea?
Well, I think I'll answer the question before you ask it.
Okay.
I was walking down the street one time. It's like a prequel to what I was to kind of answer your question. When I was working in Hollywood, there was a guy called Lon Chaney long before me. But the thing was, when you work in Hollywood, you know, they might want people that look like a witch. So if you've got a witch's hat, they'll go, good, we don't have to bother wardrobe, you've got the job. So if you go out and spec, we call it, you know, then you could be working as an extra in a movie. So now, if you've also got a nun's costume, and you've got like a, I don't know, a swimsuit, and you've got a nun's habit, and so they go, we need a nun, we need to do it at the beach, you never know. But if you've got them all in your car, so now we're carrying around all this stuff, right?
Yeah.
And so a lot of times it's like colors, it's like, we need everything to be blue, or we need everything to be green or red. The director's got a vision, and I worked on this one movie called Seven with Brad Pitt and
Wow.
Morgan Freeman, and I've got a whole bunch of stories about the movie Seven, but the director wanted it to look dismal and raining. So if you watch the movie from the point of view of looking at how the scene was set up, the lighting and everything, it was always raining in this movie. So then the whole movie itself, that's a whole other story. But Brad Pitt was in it, and I got a whole story about that. But anyway, the thing is, so there I am in Hollywood, you know, bopping around from one thing to another. 1 minute I'm in the year 1869, Dr. Quinn, medicine woman. Next minute I'm at Woodstock. Next minute I'm in Babylon 5, 500 years in the future. Then I got murdered by vampires on Buffy the Vampire Slayer on an episode called The Wish, and I think it's season 5 or 6. I'm not quite sure, but I was in a jail cell with one of the guys that's one of the main characters. What's his name? Josh Green? Is it Josh Green? I can't think of his name right now. Anyway, I know his name, but anyway, he was one of the main characters in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. So that's how I got the job as Nostradamus on the History Channel.
Wow.
So this was, now, what this meant...
How about rubbing cheeks on the staircase?
Well, I don't know. I think I have to wait until you guys graduate PhD university before we address that one. Anyway, I have an episode in the Silver Screen Sandwich called Cheek to Cheek with Lauren McCall. Anyway, that's one of them, and so this will be a novel, you know, but the way, you see, the thing is, with what you're doing now, if you think back to William Shakespeare, he didn't have a typewriter, he didn't have Facebook, he couldn't record audio, and neither could Charles Dickens.
So how did he do it?
Well, I wasn't there, but even in our school, you know, we had inkwells, right? So there'd be a little ceramic thing, so there'd be a hole cut for that to drop into on your desk, and you get whacked on the wrist. I don't think I'm allowed to do that now. But if you splotched your ink all over the place, you know, especially when the teacher wasn't looking, you know, all kinds of variations, but you had a blotting paper, and you had to dip your pen in the ink and write. And then these newfangled ballpoint pens came out, and you weren't allowed to use them. Like you weren't allowed to use calculators to add 2 and 2 together, and that sort of stuff. You know, so the technology changes. So what I'm saying is, like when Pat wrote his book, how did he write his book? Well, they sent a series of emails, and then they used those emails
To convert?
to make the book.
Wow.
Yeah, so we couldn't do that in Grandma's time, you know, so she would use a typewriter, and it would come out on paper, and if you made a mistake, you had to paint over it, and then we got word processors, and now we've got where we can spell check and everything, you know.
Yeah, we have everything now.
Yeah, not
So, Giselle, do you want to ask some questions before we go play the piano?
Yeah, let me just.
While you're thinking, let me tell you a quick finalization on that one. So when I come out to Hollywood, I was in Bullhead City, and I'm walking down Riviera, and a red car pulls up, and the lady says, "Do you have a Santa Claus hat?" And I said, "No." She says, "Do you want one?" I said, "All right." So the car pulled away, and I'm going, "Am I in the Twilight Zone? Did I imagine this, or this really happened?" So anyway, she came back and she gave me the whole thing, you know, the suit and the hat.
Wow.
She didn't tell me when to take it off. So you know, it's like if it's a red light, what do? You stop. Well,
Yeah.
if it's never going to turn green, you know. I mean, I joke about it, but then anyway, I said to her, and she may be listening, and this is probably going back 10 years now, you know. And I go, okay, what's her name? And she says Bernila, and I go, Bernila, I've never heard that name before. So I said, how am I going to remember? I go, Brr, it's called. Okay. La 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 la. They fought the day. And Nye was Bill Nye the Science Guy. So Brr, Bill Nye the Science Guy, and la la. So I memorized her name. Now, years later, I was asked to play for the autistic children at the Arizona Mentor, which I did for a while, because one of the girls that was autistic, and I say girls, a lot of them are like 50 years old, but they were still in this world of their own, you know. And so anyway, the two sisters, one was the mentor and the other one was the student. And so each person in the class had a nice to come and play music for them, and a couple of times a month. And anyway, I happened to be telling her this story, and I said, oh, this lady called Benila, and I just told her the whole story, I told you, right? And she says, oh, you mean Benila Estrada? I go, you know her? Like, there's how many Benilas are there? And she goes, yeah, she's a waitress at the Colorado Bell in Laughlin. And I go, oh, well, now I know the rest of that story. And so then a couple of years later, at a jam session in Lazy Harry's in Bullhead City, a lady came up and she goes, do you remember me? I gave you the Santa hat. I said, I know Benila. She said, you remembered my name? I said, I didn't tell her how I remembered it. I said, then she leaned, I won't tell you the word I used, but after she leaned over and she goes, do you have a clown suit? And I go, man. So now I got the nose and the rainbow hat, and I got this thing, it's like a prom, you know, it's one piece.
Oh
So
my
if you
God.
want to go to the bathroom, you got to take the whole thing off, you know, and it's like, oh no, I can't see. Now I got to find it, and I don't really want somebody else.